how to make this dress. Guys, this dress is very easy to make, right? See, I just made one this morning and it's just 8 o'clock. So this is very easy to make. It took like, let's say, about 30 minutes to make this. So I'm going to show you how to make it. This is one that I made. So first thing, you might need, let's say 3 yards, but you probably will not finish the whole 3 yards. So take your fabric here. You see how I have it now? I'm going to fold it in form of an angle. So take this side, turn it around to meet one end here. You see? The way I folded it, just one piece folded into 2 like this. And then now from this point here, let me just use something to hold it down. All I have to do is just to insert, come down here, insert my shoulder divided by 2, which is 8. Mark a straight line there to know that this is the point I'm starting with. And then I'm going to use the rest of the fabric, which is probably going to be 34 or so, right? But it depends on the length you want. Okay, mine is about 35, right? So I'm going to use the other one as seam allowance, but I don't want it that long. So you can measure, come down from your shoulder and measure where you would want it to be. So you can start from your collarbone, right, to where you want the length to be. So from my collarbone to where I want the dress to be should be about 33. So I'm going to just bring it down further, plus my seam allowance, right? So I want it to be at 34 on the dot. So what I'm going to do is just to come down here. So whatever I have here, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to use the whole thing the way it is, you understand? So instead of using 8 inches, I'm just going to use the whole length I have here. It doesn't matter. Just all I did was fold my fabric into 2, calculate the length I want my dress to be from the bottom here. So I already know it's 33 plus 1 inch of seam allowance. Add it here and then mark it at the top here. So this point here is what I'm going to use to fold the upper part, you understand? So I'm going to be tucking it in to make the casing at the top. If you want still, you can still take away the casing from the body of this dress itself, right? You don't have to add extra here. So once that is done, our dress is basically almost done. So you're just going to mark the 34 all the way around like this, right? So if you don't know how you can do that, you can also take your tape up, calculate everything. So I already know I have 34 here. So I'm going to add up the upper part of it, just because marking the whole circle from an angle like this is easier than marking it from this point. It's easier than marking it from a straight line. So I'm just going to take it up to the top. I know I already have 34.5 here, and then I'm going to add up whatever I have. Just know where the end is. When I say the end, I mean where the fold of my clothes stops. So that should be 44, right? For the whole fold of the Ankara, 44. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark 44. So I'm going to keep the tape pointed at the end here and keep marking 44, 44, 44, 44 all the way to the corner. You see, I've marked it here, and this is the upper line. So all I have to do is just to take my scissors like this and go ahead and cut. So I'm going to cut from here all the way to the corner. So guys, after that now, you can go ahead and check again. Like, I've cut out the bottom now, so you can check if this length is actually okay for you before you cut. But I'm going to just cut mine here because I want to take away some of the 34 might be too long. So I'm just going to take a little from this part here, and that is it. So this is what I'm working with. So I'm going to be folding this upper part like this to make a casing at the upper part here, and then I'm going to use 1 inch to hem the bottom. So now that is like this, I'm going to move this away and then fold my fabric the same way again. When you finish, you're going to have an edge that looks like this. You see this part here, right? I'm going to fold again. This time around, I'm going to turn it again this way, turn it again like this to this point. After folding it, I'm going to take my fabric again, put it here, and then I'm going to cut out the bottom. So guys, this is it here. You see my dress, this one here. So the next thing you're going to do is that take this the way it is now, fold the 1/2 inch, place it on your body, like place it from your collarbone, and then check from the side where you would want the length to be, like where you would want the back to come in, because some people might want it higher, some people might want it lower. But you can start from where your waist is, right? Not your waist as in your shoulder to waist, the lower waist, right? You can start from that point or just a little bit up above that, right? So, but if you want to go with me, mine is about, that's from the end of my clothes, it's about 16 inches down, right? So that is where my own back panel, the elastic from the back will come in from this point. So you see, you notice that I notched it here, right? Because you see I notched it. So I'm going to take my fabric that folded into two again. You see the angle that folded it into two with here, right? And then I'm going to, don't mind this excess coming out here, I'm going to cut it off. It's just the excess from the previous one that we cut, so I'm going to trim this off. So guys, I've cut off that excess so it's not confusing. So now you see it's exactly the same folded fabric again. So now I'm going to take this one, place it on it again, the same sides to the side, the same center to the center where the ends are, like this. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check where my notch is, which is here, and then I'm going to trace it out. So this is where my notch is, right? From here I'm going to just trace out the rest of the cloth. So my notch is here. I'm going to go ahead and mark where it falls in for me. So move the cloth and continue to mark. If you want, you can cut it directly without marking. So now I'm going to go ahead and mark it and cut it. So guys, now that I've cut that out, the next thing is going to be to take this one, fold it away to where my notch is. My notch is actually here, the notch I made on this side. So I'm going to take my tape, measure the length I have here. So it's 18. I'm going to try to get 18 on this other side too, which is here. So now I'm going to know that this is my waistline. So I'm going to connect this 18 to this point here. So this is going to be where my waist would be, right? And then I'm going to add like 1 inch at the top of it just to make casing for elastic. So this is what I'm cutting out. So I'm just going to cut the upper one. If you want, like I got 18 on the side, I can do 17 by the inner part, right? So that the bottom part will still drape and give like a U shape. Though you can make that U shape with your elastic still achieve that U shape at the back with your elastic, and by just making the elastic a little bit slack, it will just drop down with the weight of the cloth. But if you still want to add to it, like with the fabric itself, you can reduce and do 18 inches for the length of the back, at the side towards the center, make it 17, so it will be slanted downwards. So I'm just going to stick to 18 and then just use only elastic to drape it down. So this is basically it here. That is all I have to do now is just to cut what I'll use for my rope, right? But other than that, the dress is done. You have one. So all I have to do is just take it the way it is now. You see the back, you see the front. All I have to do, guys, is take the side seam here, start from the end. Don't go and start at the notch. Start from the end like this. Use half an inch or just use 1 inch, guys. Use 1 inch to sew this here up and stop where the notch is, because stop before the notch, 1 inch before the notch, because you're still going to fold this here in to make a casing. So stop 1 inch before where you made that notch, and then do the same thing on the other side. Turn it around like this. Sew from the bottom, that's the edge of the cloth, like this, and join it all the way using 1 inch of seam allowance, and then stop 1 inch before the notch. Once that is done, turn the back of the cloth like this and fold this one like this and make a casing for the elastic all the way to the other end, and then hem the whole bottom of your cloth. And then when we come back, I'll show you how we're going to finish up the side and the neckline. Here is what it looks like at the moment. You see, like I told you, you're supposed to use 1 inch, start from the end, sew it, stop 1 inch before you get to the waistband. Do the same on the other side, start from the end, sew it, stop. So now this casing I've made here now for all this at the upper part here, my elastic will pass through it and come back down. So you see it's already forming that shape. And then what I did was my seam allowance coming from the end here. You see my seam allowance, 1 inch of seam allowance. The one from the front, I folded it like how you normally hem the end of your clothes. You see it looks like normal hem, right? So I started somewhere from the side here and hemmed it all the way up, just like the type of hem I have at the end here. So I also did it on this other side now. You see, it's just like your normal folding using the 1 inch of seam allowance from my side. So now all I have to do is to take the neckline. Forget that it's looking like V, it will end up looking straight. It's just the way I cut it. So I'm just going to take this top part now, fold it with half an inch, and then bend it over with 1 inch and make another casing all over the neckline like this. Once it's done, I'll make a rope to pass through it. But for my elastic, all how because I can't tell you the amount you would need. You just have to pass through the elastic through the casing, close up one side, and then wear it and decide if you want it slack, or you can even eyeball it or how much you would want it, and then remove it, pin it, and then sew it close. So guys, as you can see, this is done, right? So you just have to use like this is an Ankara fabric, but you know some of them don't have plenty starch, so that's why I was able to get away with it. So this is it here, it's done. This is the back here. You see the elastic I used here is not much, it's about, I'm not sure, but probably, let me see, so this should be like 15 or 14 inches, including the seam allowance to sew it in. So that's basically it here. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.